What's going on, everybody? Cali Death Podcast back once again. Thank you so much for being with us again this week. We are sadly short one host. We miss the professor very much, but he's out in nature right now, finding himself, celebrating another trip around the sun. So he's having a good time. He deserves it. So fuck yeah, Joseph. We're going to miss you this one, but rock on, brother. We'll see you next week. Thanks again to the subscribers. If you're new to the podcast, hit the subscribe button for us. That would be much appreciated. CaliDeath.com, all the social network bullshit. We're all there. So this week we have yet another part 2 with yet another Cryptopsy vocalist, the current one, Matt McGachy. He also is the host of the Vox and Hops podcast. You can find that everywhere as well. YouTube, Apple Podcasts, all that shit. Great to have you back, Matt. I know we wanted to have you on to dig in a little more depth on you and your podcast and maybe even more of your history in the metal scene and what you're up to right now. Like, this is awesome. I know we had been talking about it like right after you had did the full lineup plus DeSalvo, and yeah, now we're here, dude. I don't know how many episodes later, but fuck yeah, rock on.
Feels like it's 20 episodes later, which is a lot in podcast world. So congrats to you guys to be hustling along in the podcast game. It's fun, it's dangerous. I hope that you're having a good time.
We're having a great time, dude.
Oh yeah,
you guys are rocking. You guys are loving it too, right, Joel, Casey?
Oh yeah.
By the way,
I don't really like it, but yeah.
Yeah,
I got forced into this whole thing.
Yeah, we got him to sign a contract without reading it.
Now I love it.
Like a musician.
It's been awesome every Thursday. I definitely look forward to it. You know, your work week is you're just got really nothing really to look forward to. You're like, oh, this band's coming on this week. Fuck yeah, it's going to be awesome. And it's just kind of like get to dive into a different world every Thursday. So yeah, no, it's been definitely didn't think it was going to be this much of a run that it's been already and this consistent, but yeah, man, it's been fucking fun. I mean, just like with you, I mean, Matt, it's like you're constantly going too. I'm seeing clips all over the place.
Yeah, man, it's hustling along. I started at Vox and Hops in October 2018, and I'm approaching 290 episodes, which will be coming up at the beginning of September because I took a 1-month break for the first time ever.
How dare you?
In the podcast. Yeah. I took 4 weeks off from releasing new episodes.
What'd you do in those 4 weeks?
I conducted interviews for future episodes. But I also took time to just be with my family, to be with myself, to reflect and think and try to come up with new crazy ideas for Vox and Hops and how to reimagine what I'm doing in a different way to try to connect with the audience that I've created more deeply. The community that comes with Vox and Hops is very special to me. So finding ways to connect with them and to interact with them and to create special events for them is something that is near and dear to my heart. So that's really where we've been this whole month. It's been crazy. Like a bunch of...
I was going to say, do you think that that you taking a month-long break, just as pod nerdery talk right here, do you think that built like a hype or something where people were missing the podcast? Were you getting messages, stuff like that, going like, what's up? And like kind of building like a little bit of a mystery hype kind of unintentionally?
I was in this process of releasing 2 episodes a week for so long that I honestly believe that most humans don't have enough time to listen to what I'm putting out. So
gotcha.
Throughout this month, I feel like my numbers have been good and I've honestly been charting incredibly well, better than usual, which is crazy to me. Nice. The fact that I've been putting it in for so many years and grinding to put stuff out in the hopes of charting. And then I take a break and that's when I chart the best is a mystery to me, but I'm just going to keep going. But yeah, my idea about taking a month off, and then I'm going to come back with only 1 episode a week, is that I really want to focus on each episode and focus on each conversation and really cherish those conversations as opposed to just moving on to the next one. I feel like it's easy for me to have lots of conversations. There's lots of opportunities to have conversations. Yeah. To share those conversations appropriately and to really appreciate each guest each conversation, each little nuance, and to share that with the metal community, with the craft beer community, is something that I'm striving to do more of as the podcast returns in September.
Definitely. That's super cool that you found the niche of two things, because most metalheads like beer, I mean, that's definitely a correlation of two really popular things. I mean, obviously you have metalheads like metal, and then when they go to metal shows, they like to have beer. So it was like, I thought the idea was really unique. And how did you come up with that? What was who came up with it? Or was it you? I mean, was it like just making the link of the two? And
it's my life. I really just love metal, love craft beer, and the whole story of how Vox and Hops started. I'm not sure we spoke about this last time. Was I was on a sabbatical for a year. My day job is, and I still have it, is taking care of young children in an early childhood education center. I take care of 4 to 5-year-old children typically. And I took a year off to stay home with my then 18-month-old daughter. My wife went back to work after her maternity leave. And instead of sending her to daycare right away, I took a year off because I had hit that sort of quota that I was allowed to take a year off. And I spent a year at home here in Canada. It gets dark very early in the winter, and we don't watch TV with my children. My child at that point, now we have 2. We don't watch TV with my kids to entertain them. So the afternoons got goddamn long. And I had listened to just about every single album that I've ever liked and I'd have heard about. So I was like, let's check out this podcast thing that Ollie, Cryptopsy's bassist, Cattle's bassist, is raving about and talking about. I had just been on the Jasta show with Flo a few months before that. And I was like, let's start with that. So I listened to the Jasta show. I was like, this is really cool. I really like this. And then I got into the X-Men with Doc Coyle because I was following him on socials because I was a big God Forbid fan back in the day. And then I got into Off Camera with Sam Jones. And then I got into just so many podcasts, just obsessively listening to these while playing with my daughter instead of watching TV. So from that, it escalated into a conversation with my wife, who is now the producer of the podcast. Jessica, she's really like the brains behind all my stupid ideas. She's the one that puts shit together. She's a project manager for trade, and she did a whole bunch of schooling and how to do smart things. She would be upset with me not remembering. And
that was a pretty good, hyping her up. He definitely did a good
job. We went out to dinner for her birthday, and through a conversation, we came up with the idea that I should start a podcast about beer and metal. The name was born that night, Vox and Hops. Initially, it was Vox and Locks, or because of the hair, but that quickly went away because of my love of craft beer. Because at the same time as I was at home with my daughter, about a year and a half, 2 years before that, I really got deep into the Quebec craft beer market. It was like a slow evolution, becoming a craft beer enthusiast. From my very first tour, which was right before our tour together, Joel and Casey in Europe, it was right after it. We went to Summer Slaughter right after that tour. And I remember being in Atlanta and going to this little convenience store, picking up Sierra Nevada and a Blue Moon and those beers. Like Chris Donaldson was with me. He was like, Lord Warren loves these beers. You should drink these beers. They're really good. And I drank them and I was like, what is this? What is this hoppy profile? I didn't understand it. I enjoyed it. And then it all kicked off from there. But so just putting together my love of craft beer and then asking disturbing questions. I was always that guy on tour that would prod at people. Not maliciously, but in a interesting way. I remember sitting with the singer of Psychroptic at Brutal Assault, and we had climbed up. I don't know if anyone's played Brutal Assault. It's at this old fort in Czech Republic, and there's a whole like wall system that goes out around the stage area and the crowd area, and you're not supposed to be there because it's full of holes and very dangerous, and these shafts that you could fall through. But we were drunk and we climbed up there anyways, and we sat up there and I was asking Pepe these questions, and he was on that Summer Slaughter tour, and he asked me, he was like, why do you always make me just feel so self-conscious and make me think of these deep thoughts? So from these two conversations and things, like, I'm going to start a podcast. And I did. And it was 3 years ago at this point. I was at Heavy Montreal, which is a huge metal festival here in Montreal, probably one of the best in North America. And I was looking around and I was like, next year, I'm going to be here and I'm going to be invited as media for the podcast. I'd played it twice before, but I wanted to be like on the other side of the rope for some reason. And then that night I asked Danny Marino to be my first guest from The Agonist. He's an old friend. I felt comfortable with him. And then the next Wednesday or something, I went to his house and recorded an interview with him. And then I recorded 9 more. And then in October 2018, I launched Vox and Hops with 10 episodes in the bag. And I've been going since. Subsequently, I did go to Heavy Montreal as media. And now they are the presenting sponsor of Vox and Hops.
Who did your symbol?
It's this awesome dude named Andrew Tremblay. And that's really like a lot of the stories of Vox and Hops ties into the movie Slumdog Millionaire, where, the kid goes onto this game show, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? And he knows every answer and they think he's cheating, but it's because he's lived all these life experiences. So I put out this is like Vox and Hops in a nutshell. I put out on the internet, who knows a graphic designer? And then this dude that I had met on the Belfagor tour, who was filming them, named James, hit me up. He says, I got this guy. So I hired Andrew. He made Vox and Hops. It's his branding. I've hired him for just about everything that I've done from there, aside from some beer collabs. That's another dude named Philip Ivanovic. But he's one of those dudes, just one of those perfect things that just work. My wife came up with the concept of what it should look like, and he just fulfilled it.
I'm a sucker for the classic Jolly Roger, the skull and crossbones. So I love that spin-off, dude.
It's red.
I'm a vocalist as well, and I love beer. So it's like everything's in the hat right there for me, dude.
I love it.
Jolly Roger, hat, hops, and fucking microphone. Yeah, I wanted to talk about those, dude.
Speaking about beer,
what are you drinking?
This is what I'm going to be drinking tonight. This is Vox and Hops' Brutal North America. Last June, I dropped 22 collabs across North America, where I paired metal breweries with bands from all across North America. This is Cryptopsy's most recent collab. We have a song, obviously, called Cold Hate, Warm Blood. This is Cold Haze, Warm Blood. It's a double New England with blood orange juice in it, and it's amazing.
Nice.
From Kanawaki Brewing Company. They also made the Cryptopsy Pilsner Supremacy collab. I think I was having that last summer together.
I love it, dude.
So Matt, have you ever thought about like the logistics of sending alcohol via mail and maybe having like a subscription where people
completely illegal, completely impossible.
Okay.
Beer is the worst merch item.
Okay.
It's a horrible merch item, but it's really fucking cool.
Yeah. Well, if you were to get it like delivered, they have to like check your ID, don't they?
Even then, you can't send it across lines.
So you'd have to basically hook up with the brewery in the States
to rebrew it, contract brew it in each distribution. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, it sounds like a nightmare.
That would have been perfect.
Especially because Kanawaki is one of the first breweries on a native territory. So they can't even sell the beer outside of the territory.
Wow.
But I love their brewer, Drew. I love him to death. He makes great beer. He's a metalhead. So I keep working with him, and they are going to rebrew this one. They've done 4 or 5 batches of Cryptopsy. I'm not going to tell them to stop. It's a good beer. Metalheads love it. Non-metalheads love it. And if a normal person is walking into their house with something that looks like this, that makes me happy.
Yes, most definitely.
Nice. Definitely.
Cheers. It's gorgeous.
Cheers, man. Cheers. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that artwork design on it's awesome. For all the audio listeners, you got to check out the video episode on YouTube.
Yeah, that's Philip Ivanovic. I basically just threw at him like, I want like the Vox and Hops demon crawling out of North America. And then he gave me that. And I was like, you rule. I gave him just the most minimal description of what I needed.
He's holding a beer with a Cryptopsy logo on it, people. Just
that's what's up.
Pretty cool, man.
I heard Gorguts had one like a few years ago.
They do. They still do. I have one sitting in my room waiting for the day that I interview Luke.
Yeah,
it will happen. It will happen. It's there. I won't drink it. It's waiting for him. It's called Obscure IPA. Obscure IPA. It's smart. It's a black IPA. This one is a 8.5% ABV. You would never know that. It's dangerously delicious.
Dang. Yeah, we might actually have hazes. I was just saying with the hazes that those percentages hide well.
Yeah, especially with the blood orange juice. It really sort of brings us astringent, slightly sour, and this is probably. a month and a half old now, and it's holding up really well. Yeah, the canning job's great.
Awesome.
No oxidation, just delicious.
I was thinking actually, so you were talking about how you first started, your first interview and stuff like that. Do you ever go back and listen to that and
never
listen to old interviews? Yeah.
I would hate to. Yeah, but I'm sure I would hate it, especially because now I feel like I have more of like, it's like with anything, right? You don't want to go listen to your old shows performance wise.
I don't
like
listen
music
to ours either.
I actually went back and listened to like one of our, I don't know, it was probably between episode 10 and 20. And just to throw it on, because I was just like sitting at work, but I had like some time to kill. And the difference between now, if I were to say like looking at us now versus, and I was talking to Casey about this too, like looking at us back then versus now, we're just way more like used to it. And like, we're like, as far as, I mean, that's obvious, but we're way more like chill. We were like, our eyes were way more like, oh yeah, totally. We were like every question, we were just like, yeah, we're like jumping on it. Just
and how you feel afterwards too. Like, even if it's like a whatever, or you felt like it was whatever, like everybody else doesn't say that. And it's just you in your head, dude. That's all it is.
It's like a show. It's like a show.
We've gotten way more like from like, yeah, totally to like, yeah, totally, man. So what's going on? It's basically like the hyperness has gone down.
Comparing how I felt before we started the episode now versus the Cryptopsy episode, dude, I was like rubbing my knees before we were about to do the Cryptopsy. And I was like, fuck,
you're in good hands tonight, Anthony.
Yeah. Dude, thanks, Matt.
Well, I was comfortable with that one just because we had already toured with them. But I think the moment that I knew that I was kind of mellow to the whole situation was when we had Dallas from Nile and stuff on, and like Casey was like, well, he's in the lobby, should I let him in? And I was like, yeah, whatever. And Casey had to go do something, so it was just me and Dallas, and I was just totally like, hey, what's up, dude? I've never met him or anything before, and it just turned into like a talk. I was just not even nervous, and I was like, how's it going, man? What's going on? Blah blah blah. Just talking to him, just like how would someone out, walking in the grocery store or something. And that's when I was like, okay, I'm not really, I mean, there'll be probably a few guests that will make me nervous. Like, if we had, I don't know, certain like singers, like if we had Gary or some like humongous name, like Chino from the Deftones, even though it's not death metal. If he just like came on here, I'd be like,
I'm sure you wouldn't though. You've always been so chill, Joel.
I know, but still, I still have my fan, allegiances to things where I'm just like, I hold them on certain people on such a high pedestal that it would probably freak me out.
Well, Matt gets some guests on that I'm like, damn, man.
Yeah, Sebastian Bach, I'd be worried about.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell? That's crazy.
Yeah,
he was unbelievably chill. He was 20 minutes late. I don't know if this happens to you, but it happens to me. There's times that I launch a meeting and I just sit there by myself,
just waiting
for the whole night. And then that happens. So I have like a 20-30 minute grace period, and that I've instilled. And at the same time, I always have work to do. So I started doing work, waiting for Sebastian. And then I'd finished my work, and I was just about to get up and crack the beer that I was going to drink with him and sit on my couch. And boom, there he was. And he was on fire.
Yeah,
it was
awesome.
Amazing. Yeah. It was amazing. That was an interview through Heavy Montreal, and he was just amazing. Just he sang, he made me laugh. It's probably like the YouTube video that has the most crazy comments from people that don't like what he's saying politically, and I could give a fuck about what people think.
Well,
so I just leave the comments there. But
one thing about Sebastian Bach is that I kind of had obviously like a big Skid Row fan. I love some of those old albums and stuff. I when I saw that you were interviewing him, I had to watch, and the main reason why I had to watch immediately was because he did an interview with Loudwire, or it was the Wikipedia Truth or Fiction or whatever that Graham does, and he was just such a dick to Graham. He was just like,
you never know what you're gonna get, but I've been so lucky.
He was like laughing, going like, "What the fuck is this guy?" Well, like being like super gnarly, and the guy's like the sweetest, nicest guy. Graham's like probably one of the nicest like interviewers I've ever seen.
Oh, that guy with the beard.
There's been
that guy. Yeah.
There's been 2 interviews where I didn't know what I was gonna get. That was one of them, and the other was Guar.
Oh,
yeah. Crazy.
Yeah,
that's definitely more mysterious.
But I spoke to them. I like adapted and spoke to them in character, and they would like answer in character, but also not answer in character, which was interesting. And I had Ballsack and the cave
improv thing going on.
Yeah.
It was like
did they wear the masks?
They wore the masks. They were in full character.
So cool. Yeah.
That's there's this band. there's a band around San Francisco here that I think they disbanded, but they're getting back together called Arno Core. And they're all it's before that one with the As I Lay Dying guy, the Arno.
Get to the chopper there.
Yeah, what was that band with they did like
Austrian
Death Machine. That's right. So it's before that, so they have that over them, but they will stick in character the whole show if you go hang out with them, and they'll just be like, fantastic. Like every time you like all the characters stick to it, and I've never talked to anyone.
Just gonna say, must be exhausting.
Oh, they never
they crawl in the van or they cry.
Yeah.
What if they like they're in the van and sometimes they accidentally go into character and everybody's like, "Shut the fuck up, dude!"
Yeah.
It's like Oakley Dokley.
Well, they're at the drive-through at Taco Bell and they're like, doing the voices.
Is Oakley Dokley still a thing? That was the old Ned Flanders band.
Oh
right?
Yeah, dude, Ned Flanders.
I heard they ruled. Michelle Ayoub from here in Montreal swears by them, and Michelle Ayoub has excellent standards.
I think I've seen their YouTube videos and it was great.
I've heard that they're amazing, and live they're great. Yeah. I should interview them,
dude. Hell yeah.
The song names are all like sayings by Ned, right?
Dude, Matt. Oh, go ahead.
No, I don't know. I was just saying the song names are like phrases that he said on the show and shit. Hell yeah,
probably.
Check it out on YouTube. I think there's like live stuff or whatever.
Yeah, I remember they were kind of interesting. I was not expecting the style that they had. I was like, it was definitely kind of it was more. I'll say this, from what I saw, I remember being like super stoked when I saw them like all standing there all tough with like all wearing Ned Flanders shit. I was like, that's a funny idea right there. And I listened to it and I'm like, okay, well, it's mostly the idea that's funny and it's good. The music was like, I was like, okay, well, I won't listen to this.
They can't all be Max Sabbath, right?
Yeah, I'm not gonna fucking listen to them on Spotify. Maybe only YouTube.
There's like a whole genre of bands that I just didn't even get deep in, which is the parody.
Exactly.
I
interviewed. They're not a band anymore. Metalachi.
Oh yeah, they're still they're touring. They actually came around here like a year or two ago.
The dudes that I interviewed are no longer a part of it. Is what it is. And I asked them, like, how do you feel about being roped into being this parody band? You have to tour with Oakley Dokley. You have to tour with Max Sabbath. You have to tour with. You're not taken. Does it feel like you're not being taken seriously as an artist?
Yeah. I mean, everyone walks in there with a big smile on their face. They're like ready for some comedy,
Oh, Weird Al like headlines, fat tours.
Well, that's pretty much where it probably all started. Was it's like the Black Sabbath of that shit, Weird Al, goddamn. So actually, I did have a hard hitting question to ask you.
Hit me.
All right. So I was just thinking about this on the drive home from work today. So as you know, we toured with you right as Unspoken King came out, and as you know, it was a different sound, obviously, than the rest of the Cryptopsy albums, and it was taking a big leap in a different direction. And bringing in the clean singing and stuff. And it was your first album with the band. Like, how did you feel coming into that situation? And I know we toured with you right as it came out. How were you? Like, what was your mental mindset going through all that? Because there was a lot of negative stuff coming out because, it's a band changing their sound. I mean, even though there is a lot of good normal Cryptopsy songs on there that are back to the old school roots and stuff like that, but the ones that everyone was talking about on the forums and all the trolls and stuff and all the shit you had to deal with, how did you deal with that? Because that must have been like a weird entrance into a band.
I discovered craft beer. And
I think he touched on it a little bit.
We did, but I don't think I opened up as much because the full band was there. Yeah. But the period when I entered Cryptopsy was a very strange period for the band. I came from a band, 3 Mile Scream, which was a metalcore band, not a deathcore band, which a lot of people have labeled me as a deathcore singer. I'm not a deathcore singer. I was a metalcore singer. I was a new wave of American metal, heavily inspired singer. And we would jam 3 to 4 times a week. When I got the call that I was in Cryptopsy, I called every week saying, "Are we jamming this week?" And then I just stopped calling because we never jammed. And then all of a sudden we got booked to do a tour in Mexico, and we crash jammed to get ready for a tour. It was in March. I think in February we started jamming, and I was not ready. and I had never done vocals like this in my life. And I remember going with my wife, who had like some seminar in Ottawa, and I remember sitting in her class learning Cryptopsy songs to get ready for this tour. We went and toured afterwards, and it wasn't good.
Yeah.
We did our best, and then I can't remember when. I think the album got recorded right after that, or maybe just a bit before that. But they didn't want Cryptopsy. They wanted something different. I was told that numerous times. We chose you because you're different. Do what you do. And I remember going into the studio and performing and having Chris's face just like disgusted as I'm doing my clean vocals. He's going, it's good, but with like this as if he's smelling the deepest shit that he could ever smell. and we kept going. The album was finished. The band really enjoyed it. Not all of them. Chris never liked that album. And I remember the day I was at work, early childhood education. It was back in the day when I didn't have a smartphone. I went to work. I went on the work computer, logged in on SNM. That was like the forum thing back in the day. The Cryptopsy thread, and it had leaked. Bemoan the Martyr had leaked. And it was just like a slew of just like destroying me and the song. And I had written that song about my friend who had passed away. And I was like,
Jesus.
That's the whole like how that forum was though, dude. It was just like a big chunk of dudes who just wanted to shit on everything, dude. That's why I stopped going in there.
So then I went back to work. I had started my shift, and that was a shitty day, I'd say the least. And we went on that tour with you, Joel and Casey, and that explains why I was extremely nervous and very stressed throughout the whole tour. And then Summer Slaughter became the same thing. I think we talked about this last time, that we did that dinner time joke that was a negative impact reaction that we shouldn't have done. And I feel like Century Media should have stopped us, should have told us this is a bad idea, you're doing the wrong thing. But they didn't. And I don't know why they didn't. I don't know what the relationship between the band and them was at that point. But me, from a marketing standpoint nowadays, with my maturity, looking back on that decision, was funny as hell, but the wrong decision in that moment. We should have been much more mature and respected our old school fans. And yes, this is our new direction. We respect that you dislike it, but we shouldn't have mocked people. But having like death threats and MySpace pages called Cryptopsy created with us all dressed in pink, and it was a bit much, but at least we made an impact. And there was that whole like, what's that? There was the Hitler movie that came out, the Die Führer movie that came out around the same time as that, and someone had redone the whole thing about Flo changing Cryptopsy's sound.
Oh yeah, that meme thing that was going around.
But no, it was a whole YouTube video. It was a whole YouTube video. It was really intense. Someone spent a lot of time doing this.
Damn.
At least we made an impact, but it's what the band wanted. It was a very fragmented idea. Like, they wanted clean vocals. Flo was heavily Deftones inspired, Faith No More inspired. Eric wanted clean vocals. Alex wanted it to be black metal. Chris wanted it to be Cryptopsy. It was a fragmented idea. So we went through that stage. And then once the self-titled came out, John came back and just sort of solidified everything, and everyone was happy again. And we've been running since then. John left again, but then, Ollie, Chris, me, and Flo are the longest standing Cryptopsy lineup. I'm the longest standing Cryptopsy vocalist.
Wow.
But I will forever be the new Cryptopsy vocalist. But how I felt like shit. I felt like I had failed. I felt that, but I didn't quit. I'm not a quitter.
No, that's definitely, props to you on that. Cause I remember even just talking to you on the tour bus and stuff, going through all that, like, we like, even what was the show in France, we had to not play because of a death threat or something sort of threat or something. That's what Flo was saying to me.
Really? See, I don't remember that at all.
I remember something about that.
Yeah. It was like some sort of like someone threatened the venue if like, cause of that's how like much that they were mad about it. You know what I mean?
Maybe I wasn't even told. Maybe he didn't tell me because he protected me from that.
So the songs, I was trying to remember. So the songs were leaked on, was it on the forums?
Two songs. on the
so
forums.
were they on? Okay, so they weren't like on like MySpace or what? Like I can't remember what. I mean,
no, they weren't. I assume that they came from like publicists send out
promo.
Yeah, okay.
Promo.
So
I imagine that it came from that because it came like 2-3 weeks before the release date.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
And then we went on a tour with you guys. We played
a
few new tracks, but not many. I think we only played one song once, and then we never played it again because the first show was in Berlin. We played. I can't remember the name of the song.
Yeah.
We played one new song once, and we never played it again.
Worship Your Demons?
No, that one we played many times.
Okay.
And subsequently afterwards, and it's a 2-minute song. It makes the set list look good.
Yeah. Definitely.
We played 14 songs, but one of them is 2 minutes long.
It was funny for us because like we like just went on tour with you. We were like so stoked to tour with you guys in Cryptopsy, and we're like huge fans. And then of course we heard about all that controversy and stuff, and like we were just like, dude, I don't know, people like, it's like, check this band out live. Like they're like the earliest. So you guys were so good, like, and of course, like we said on the other episode, like we thought you were a great singer, like off the bat. We were like, dude, that guy's amazing. Like, so like, we didn't know you, and so we just met you. So we were being honest. We were like, dude, that guy shreds, and you guys were so sick on that tour, So that whole thing was just, like it's whatever. Those 2 tracks, was it or something,
It was Bemoan the Martyr and probably The Plagued, which was actually the song that got me the gig because I had to go into studio to record a song, which was The Plagued versus another singer. And trust me, and I know disrespect to this guy who's listening, they would have hated his album more than mine.
But a lot of bands are doing that now, like the clean stuff.
Dude, we were the forerunner. We always were avant-garde. Out of the box, Shadow of Intent, Cattle Decapitation. There's clean vocals in everything now.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yep. I think the execution of what we put was not perfect, though. It wasn't constructed the way that it should have been. Had we released The Unspoken King as a side project called The Unspoken King, it would have done well. It's a good band name. I think it would have done very well.
That is a good band name.
Well, but I think you're definitely onto that. That would have been like, because people have like blasphemy, they have whispered supremacy, they got all these like things, and then they hear like they're brought up with that from, especially back in the day with death metal. It was way more like if clean singing comes into the picture, like we'll kill ourselves kind of thing. like it's like it was like they were like a big risk back then.
At least I brought people together, right? There was 2 camps before me. There was the DeSalvo camp, there was the Lord Worm camp. At least both of them together fucking hated me. So I brought people together, and then that's what I've been doing with Vox and Hops, and doing with the rest of my career is just bringing people together and creating beautiful things. And so I think that since the self-titled, I've redeemed myself. I feel like with Tome 1 and Tome 2, I've redeemed myself even further. I know that with the new record that we are writing now, I will push myself and redeem myself even further. I'm very comfortable with many new voices that I've been fucking around with. I was hired to do monster voices.
Sick.
Recently as a part of a video game, which I can't talk about sadly, but I would love to. It was super fun, and I'm excited to do more of that with La Fabrique des Monstres from here in Montreal.
Cool. I don't like you using the word redemption though, because as an artist, I would still be proud of my shit. It's like that was you didn't do that with anybody fucking holding a gun to your head. That's what you guys wanted to do in the creative space, and that's what Cryptopsy came out with.
It's like looking back at those first episodes. From the
so I mean, I guess it's redemption in the fans' eyes, but fuck those fans, dude. It's like Cryptopsy has been a morphing band.
The performance that I could give is more so what I'm talking about. We're artists, right? We're never satisfied.
Yeah, most definitely.
Well,
I don't like looking at any. Sorry to cut you off. To look at any YouTube videos from any tour that is not the most recent tour, because I change stuff all the time. If I see the old shit, I'm like, I'm using that old technique. It's got that weird little note. I don't fucking like it. That little whistle scream thing that I don't. Anyway, but now it hasn't been 2 years that I performed, so I'll listen to everything. Casey, go for it.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say I was listening to the self-titled one on my way to work, like the last few days, but like literally on my way home tonight. And then those EPs, I love those. I've always loved them, and like I re-listened. I mean, I listened to all that stuff when we had you guys on and stuff, and then of course this last week I was like re-listening to it. And I was just like, God, I love this band. Like it's so good, dude. Like the recording's sick. Like Flo's just doing new stuff he's never done before. Like those albums are fucking great, dude. And your vocals are so good, like so brutal, so fucking badass. Like it sounds like Cryptopsy, but it's Matt. It's like it's your like style. It doesn't sound like Lord Worm or Dissolve or Mike. And like I love all your voices.
Which is how
like,
it's supposed. That's the formula too, because new vocalists brings themselves to Cryptopsy.
Yeah.
They don't try and do the guy that was already in the band. You bring your goods to the mix, and then now you're Cryptopsy. It
still has the same sound though. Like you can tell when there's times where it's a little different, and you have a nice range in your voice where you can go to that like it sounds really good, like that you know when you expand it or go higher or whatever. But like there's parts where I'm like, oh, that kind of sounds like how Lord Worm would do something, but it's like your voice. And then it's like, then there's a part where I'm like, that kind of sounds like Whisper Supremacy style, like, or like just different things. And you just blend all sick and all of it, dude. I love it. I mean,
definitely.
I wouldn't be saying all this.
That comes from the, well, thank you. But that comes from
feel that way.
The performing their songs each night, which I miss doing. It'd be nice to play a show.
I actually wanted to, I mean, I probably said the same thing last episode, but I totally did. Whatever. The Belfagor show. Remember when I met up with you in Oakland?
Yes.
That was I was like, oh yeah, I'm stoked to see Cryptopsy again. Fuck yeah. And I just like by watching you on stage, like from not saying that you've progressed is all I'm saying. Like as far as like a front man and a vocalist, I watched you on that show and I was just like, I was like fucking getting chills and shit. I was like, holy fuck, like this dude has like refined this so much, and like the stage presence was aggressive and like engaging.
What venue was that?
And it was at the Metro. The Metro.
Nice.
Yeah. And it was just super engaging, and your headbanging was fucking gnarlier. Your vocals were gnarly. Like everything had progressed in such a amazing fashion that I was turned into a little bit of a fanboy and was like, oh my God, we're going to hang out on the tour bus later. Like, I was like literally like,
well, yeah. You had brought me beer. So
I brought you before I brought you beer. It was an exchange for the tickets. Okay. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to not bring a death metal band beer if they're giving
that is a thing, people. If you want to come to my shows.
yeah. And if you want me on your list, I'll bring you beer.
But don't bring that bunk shit. Bring that real local fucking craft
beer. Next time you bring me Joel, I want the Ghost Town Brewing.
Oh, okay.
Ghost Town.
Yeah, I was logging to Sucks is what I brought you last time, and you you texted me actually. I don't know, a few days later or something, and you're like that logging into Sucks was like really you were like all stoked on it, and I was like
9% or something.
Yeah, that was our winter beer for the first few years they did that brew. It was just a seasonal winter.
Isn't it an offshoot of the Brown Sugar or something?
I don't know. They did. If you read up on it, this is where you can nerd out on it. But they actually tell the story, and it's not really based on that recipe. It was the only thing they can come up with in their capacity at that time as a company. So Brown Sugar wasn't. They didn't have the capacity to make enough that year or something. So they had to switch it up and come up with something else. And then they're like, oh, dude, we couldn't fucking put the Brown Sugar out this year, dude. Lagunitas sucks, dude. and that's how they fucking came up with the name of it, dude.
We're gonna talk about fucking Waldo's, dude.
Waldo's is the shit too. That's their triple IPA. It's the dankest.
It's like almost 12%. Like,
yeah, it's 11. Yeah, it's definitely, but you get it. But you get it fucking ice cold off the tap, dude, and you take that first sip, that dank just hits you right in the nose, dude.
Yeah, six pack, and you will not remember the night if you just take that six pack and with a certain amount of speed.
That's one of those things. It's like 1 and 2 are good, 3 bye.
Yeah, and the thing is, you're treating it like beer, so you're just like, I only had 3, like I haven't even had any, but you're like wasted. You're like, but you're like in your brain, you're like, dude, I've only had 3 beers. Like, I know I'd feel it, but I'm not like, I can't be that drunk. And then you're just like time travel to the morning.
Every beer is 4 Coors Light. you know?
Yeah, exactly. That's definitely a time traveler opening a fucking portal to the tomorrow beer. Just like being on stuff,
cracking a Jaeger bottle.
Yeah, same thing. That was
I don't touch that anymore.
Bottle.
Yeah, I love
doing it on tour. We get these bottles on tour. It's a part of our rider stuff, but we rarely touch them. We typically get it to share with everyone. And there's times like at the end of a tour where there's just an accumulation of bottles back in our back lounge or something. So I'll do this thing right before I go to bed. I'll just come out and just crack a bottle, leave it on the table and say good night, and then go crawl into my bunk and then wake up the next morning and watch everyone like zombie out of bed.
Yeah, that's how it was on tour with the first show with Black Dahlia Murder. They just had like on their rider so much booze, and they had like a bottle of like 2 or 3 bottles of Jaeger, and probably I literally want to say it because they were all about like the cheap Paps back then, but it would be like we literally took like 75 with us, like to the next show, and we like just had like a accumulation of just beers, just like where we couldn't even keep them anymore because so they're just like fuck it. Yeah, exactly. Just same thing, just cracking a bottle like here you go, Joel. I'm like, amazing. All right, well, that's my beer for the night's a full bottle of Jaeger. But this is Rufus right here.
Last time I had Jaeger was at Las Vegas Metal Fest when Severed headlined it. So that's a long time ago, dude. I have not touched Jaeger since then because they were sending shots to the stage. And on number 2, dude, I took it and I back into my mouth and I turn around towards Troy and I'm just like, swallow it down slowly. And then I had to go into the next song, and the whole fucking time I was like, am I gonna puke on this front row right here?
Yeah,
do it.
Like, and I never did. I got it. I for some reason just fucking got through that song, and then it pounded water, dude, and I was good for the rest of the set. But I was like, that's the last Jaeger shot I'm fucking taking.
You play Summer Breeze backstage, like on behind the stage is a Jaeger tap.
Oh yeah. That's amazing. What so actually tomorrow I'm going to Vegas to the Psycho Fest and with Dan Kinney from Suicide Silence, and when last time I went on their bus, actually probably a couple times before, but they were like sponsored by Jaeger or something, so they like had test like
tubes.
Yeah, they had 2 taps in their bus. Yeah. So they were just like pouring me these freezing things, and then me and Dan both blacked out, and I got kicked off the bus by their manager, and then Dan was like running into people's trailers and like falling, and like it was just like the most insane chaotic like terror. Like the next day I got stuck going home in the van. I got stuck upside down with my in like the well where the door is in the van.
Yeah,
I got stuck upside down. Yeah, and they were like on the freeway and they had to pull over and like push me out like upside down.
And that's not the first time you got stuck in a van like that, dude. You got stuck in between seats on tour.
Yeah. You're on tour and stuff, especially like between the ages of whatever 21 to 27 or whatever that was touring or however long it was.
But you were
like, there's no rules. There's no rules.
We left you in the van.
Yeah.
You were so hammered. We left you in the van, and then we came back, and you were stuck in between 2 seats, giggling at yourself, dude, because you couldn't get out.
It happens, man. Great, it's definitely like I lived it up. The one thing that kind of scares me about all my tour stuff and the excessive alcohol abuse throughout tour is that I've had so many bands that are like big, well-known like partying bands come up to me and just be like, yeah, you were the craziest. I was like, oh no.
You weren't that crazy with us. We were all crazy on that tour.
I mean, I cut a lock open on your fucking refrigerator to get booze out. I don't know. That's
true. That's
pretty over the line. I don't know. The next morning I felt bad about that, but at the time I was like, fuck this, dude. They have all the alcohol. We need the alcohol. Like, what's going on? But yeah, I felt bad the next day.
To continue the booze talk, Matt, are you into cocktails or anything like that?
I am not. I am a man that is very obsessive, so I need to focus on one thing at a time.
What about wine?
We used to do wine Wednesdays.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy wine, but every time the doorbell rings, my children say, "Daddy, there's beer for you," whether there's beer for me or not. It's a perk of the podcast that my fridge is always very full.
And one thing about you too is that I can't say that you've ever got like out of control from drinking. Like you're very
publicly, no.
Yeah. I've never seen you though. Just like, you know, everyone else seems like they have an issue controlling their alcohol and stuff. And you're literally the host of the beer podcast. And like, I haven't seen
which
you
is
ever.
Exactly why you will never will in a perfect world. Not
Yeah.
seen. In Cryptopsy, we have names for each other when we get out of control.
Oh, gotcha.
It's our name in reverse. So you have never met Tam. If you were to come on tour with me, you would meet Tam, but we would not take pictures. We would not film things, and it would not be published on the internet because I've created my wife, the producer of the podcast, and I've had many conversations of keeping the fact that I am a beer podcaster. I need to always at least appear in control.
Yeah. Well, luckily you haven't seen Ludge come out because
or Ulf.
Ulf is a nasty one. He's very funny. He becomes the DJ, and he likes Foreigner.
Oh, fuck yeah!
Nice. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun actually. When Ulf does not come out often, but the rest of us do.
Yeah. No, I feel like Flo was kind of one of those two that kind of held it, but I saw him get a little crazy a couple times. Or
you saw him before. Now he's much more regimented and very careful with what he does. His playing spot. His playing is a machine. He is a machine, and he knows his body very intimately in many ways. But he knows what he needs to do to perform every night.
Yeah.
Plus, he's getting a tad older than he was.
Yeah.
Let's say almost 15 years ago at this point. So.
I mean, shout out to him because he fucking, you know, on the podcast, he still looks pretty similar
he's killing it. Yeah, he's in great shape. Yeah,
exactly. Like even just his face, and you know, there's like no wrinkles or anything. There's just like he just looks like kind of like Flo with a little longer hair or something.
Yeah,
you know,
he's in great shape. He's in
definitely
awesome. He knows exactly what he needs to do to perform and to stay in shape. He also is like a personal trainer and stuff, so he loves working out. It's one of his passions.
That's awesome. It's awesome. So I was gonna
say calling back to when you said you're saving that Gorgut spear for a Luke LeMay interview. Is he hard to nail down?
I've just actually never asked him. I met him once at a Voivod revocation show, and I asked him. He was interested. It happened, but it just never happened. I'm at the point where I can't just book someone. I have like this schedule that I use to organize my interviews and stuff. And every like 3 months, I sort of like 2 months, reshuffle who I have coming up, what I have in the bank already recorded, and then see what my releases are going to be over the next few months. And then I realized just recently, like this week, that I have to stop booking interviews again because I want to do Sober February again, where I only speak to sober artists that I'm hoping to talk to very cool people. And I myself, I'm sober throughout February. It's the shortest month. It makes sense to me. And I'm there. Like the content that I have scheduled is up and beyond the end of January. So if I wanted to talk to someone, I'd have to bump someone or move someone, so I would love to talk to Luke, and I would definitely be interested in doing that, but the opportunity hasn't arose yet. But I'm sure that it would be a great conversation.
So yeah, one of our guests actually, I'm not going to say who, but supposedly has a hookup for Luke. So,
I definitely have. I have.
Oh. I know you're from Montreal. He's like, dude, he's my neighbor, dude.
I know.
No, he doesn't live that close to me, but I know that would be a good conversation. We almost did it, but I never sort of followed through with it, and it was my bad on that.
Yeah.
So if you could all go ahead, dude.
Go.
I'm sure it will happen eventually. You know, the Vox and Hops is not going anywhere.
Nice. I was just gonna say if you could all pick like one dream guest to have on your podcast. For me, it's Hate Beak. The bird
No,
band.
it's not. Who's your real one? Who's your real one?
No, I want to have an episode where there's like a bird.
We could get Hate
panels. Like, dude.
but I think the bird died.
Oh no!
No, I think the Caninus, the dog died.
No, I think Hate Beak died too because it's Blake from Pig Destroyer that does that.
Okay. Oh, dude. Cool. I'm gonna see them this weekend.
Yeah, I could definitely hook you up with Blake. He's amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, well,
awesome.
I mean, I'd be down to interview him, but yeah. Oh, that's
amazing.
The number one for you, though?
Sad to hear that.
Shit. Number one.
I could be wrong, though, but
Frank Mullen, dude.
Yeah, Frank Mullen.
I would say Frank.
We can get Frank.
I feel like you guys can get Frank.
I'd love to dig into him, dude.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like he'd have a nice, good chunk, dude.
Just get Frank and Terrence or something.
Yeah, like Frank and Terrence would be a cool.
Oh, that would be amazing, dude.
Yeah. Because I know Frank really well. I mean, not really well, but just on tour, like I hung out with him a lot, and I know that like when he's not Vox or Hopsing, he's very very kind of mellow dude, really quiet, and I've used to play poker with him on tour and stuff a bunch. He was definitely like more calculated dude. I mean, Frank the Tank comes out every now and then, but that's like a different thing. Yeah, that comes out every now and then, and that's probably one of the funniest things you've ever seen, like on a tour bus, is Frank just going bananas on a tour bus and just bringing that New York fucking flavor out when he's he's drunk. But
maybe Ozzy Osbourne,
right now though, I don't know if that would.
Well, it's now. Is it now or never?
Okay,
that's horrible to say.
That's true.
All right. Okay, so mine would be Bruce Dickinson then.
That's what I was gonna say. Yours was. I was gonna already pick that for you.
Or Rob Halford. I mean, it'd be just as cool.
Rob Halford, actually, I'd probably rather have on just because, like,
he's amazing.
He's so fucking adorable and nice to people and like really cool to people, and like in all of his interviews, like even when I've seen interviews with him where they're like nervous to talk to him, and the dude's like, no, dude, like gives him he's so nice, like he's one of like the nicest like guys in all of metal, I would say, besides Matt.
Yeah. So Matt, what would yours be, bud?
I'm a new metal child, so there's definitely like massive nerves when it comes to like new metal stars that I used to have on my walls. I've never conquered that. There's been no one on the podcast that I had on my wall in my youth. I almost had Dez.
Oh,
he would have been the first that was on my wall.
Mm-hmm.
And it fell through a bunch of times. Jonathan Davis, I would love to have Jonathan Davis on the podcast. He doesn't drink, but to have him on a sober episode would be amazing.
There's alcohol-free beers too. There's those like Lagunitas.
He can drink whatever the hell he wants.
That's not a requirement.
I've done a bunch of episodes where people just drink whatever the hell they want.
And he's fucking drank throughout his fucking time in Korn, so he's had enough fucking drinks probably.
The drink is just a conversation starter. It's not a mandatory thing. We don't have to talk about beer. We can talk about his life and music, and we can talk about his experience with alcohol if he's open to speaking about that. Mm-hmm. But Vox and Hops is not solely the beer is just an icebreaker.
Totally.
It's just something to make people feel loose and comfortable, and that's the premise of the whole thing. I'd love to have Corey Taylor, killer vocalist, interested in his opinions on stuff, which a lot of people care about. Mike Patton, obviously, huge influence.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, for sure. That actually, I would love to talk to Mike for sure. Because I mean, if Frank's easier. Yeah, if Frank's easier for us, I would actually change mine to Patton, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Talking to anybody from Bungle would be.
You could have like a top 5.
I've been circling Patton. I had Trey.
Yeah.
I had Dwayne. I had Dwayne, and I had I had another one from another one of his bands. Justin Pearson from
Locust.
Yeah, Locust and his new band. They're called
Satanic.
Nice. No, not that one, but the one with Patton. Dead Cross.
Dead Cross, yeah.
So I'm circling Patton.
They live down here in San Diego, and I used to go see him in high school growing up a bunch. And
Justin Pearson was so fucking cool.
Yeah, Locusts are crazy.
That was another episode that I listened to.
He's so fucking cool. What a great conversation.
Nice.
I think mine would be just the one that I said earlier, probably be Chino. Just because, like,
on my list too. Yeah.
As a little kid, that was like a bit. I mean, with the Deftones, I went through a thing with them where I liked them, and then thought they were like terrible for a while, and then and then I was on tour with fucking Animals as Leaders, and Tosin was like, dude, the new Deftones, have you heard that? Like, what the there was not White Pony, Diamond Eyes. He was like, dude, it just came out, and it's so good. And I was like, all right, well, Tosin's just like pushing me to listen to it, and I'm like, well, if you're pushing me, Like when he wasn't Tosin wasn't like this like mega celebrity guitar player yet. He was just like a guitar player that I just like was in awe of as far as his talent went. And I'm like, huh, you're like Tosin is pushing me towards the Deftones. That's very interesting. And same with a Nick from Cephalic there, but basically like you have to check this out. And I started listening to it. I went through like a breakup on the road, and like that was like that's one of those like
Chino just singing in your ear.
Oh no, he just every morning, just like my little iPod was like, I'm like, like listening to like, Chino, like
stuck between the seats, all fucking crying and shit.
No, I literally listened to that album. I want to say probably on I forget what tour it was. I think it was a Summer Slaughter. I think I listened to that album every single day for the whole tour. I listened to the full album. It might have been 2 times a day. Like it just like all of a sudden I was like, yeah, this is good. To like, this is like my favorite album, like for the last 5 years, you know, like
their best album.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's like
have been amazing
hurdles.
I'm wearing over Ohms shirt. You can't see it, but it's Ohms.
Ohms was solid too. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's hurdles you get over as getting into metal as young as we did. And we know people like Nate fucking, he likes so many different styles of music, dude. So you get through this like phase where it's just like metal only, you know, nothing else. But then it just becomes like, oh wait, no, I kind of want to branch out this way. And you start reaching further and further out until now you start to really mature and get to the point where you're like, I love songwriting as well. You know, It doesn't matter what kind of music I'm hearing. You can click with what a well-written song sounds like.
Absolutely.
And then you start throwing that in there. And then you actually see that evolve through the bands that have been around too, is like a lot of bands going through their careers up to now are really starting to focus more on songwriting. And like that's Alluvial record, dude. God damn,
so
that
good.
Alluvial record is so good. Sarcoma, dude.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I told you
I heard write metal songs, dude.
The first fucking time I heard it, I literally like heard halfway through, and I just posted on Facebook like album of the year. It's album of the year. Like it's not even like I don't know how this is going to be touched. I haven't heard like this amalgamation of different styles. Like the Dimebag style and all that stuff that he had mixed into, and I'm like, oh, you're just hitting all my spots, dude. Like you're touching me. Anyways, that's kind of weird thing to say. But no, as far as I mean. You went through this emotional period. I mean, for me, I went through kind of this kind of, puberty kind of filled, first time dealing with girls, that's where new metal was kind of in. And then I kind of went to this kind of more aggressive, like badass. It's got to be badass and heavy and fast and crazy. And it's got to be the craziest music I can listen to. That's all I cared about. And then I went to like, oh yeah, like I have like feelings too, like like I want to like feel those feelings again, you know what I mean? Like not just be like, it doesn't have to be just like, yeah, the reason why I like music is because it's badass, like I had to basically have it take me on a journey emotionally again. And just I listen to certain songs like when we're talking about Diamond Eyes. If you throw on a certain song from that album, I remember all these visions come in my head of where I was living, what was going on, all this stuff like starts flying back to me. So it's basically like a travel through time, kind of remembering my past. It just takes me back to all these things. And
you lock memories into songs, dude.
Whereas Spawn of Possession is it's my favorite death metal band, but I don't listen to, fucking Church of Deviants and be like, oh, when I was like driving that one, time and like this girl was dating me and we didn't work out and
I don't know,
like all this thing, like I don't know, it's so brutal. I just want to listen to how brutal it is. That's all I care about.
Whenever I put on Spawn, like I get this vision of you back in like 2004 with this like the sweatshirt on, just being like, dude, they're the best band, the fucking best band. Like, and you're just all like, and like it takes me back to the Thunderdome days and all that. So it kind of does that for me. I mean.
It does a little bit for sure.
Cryptopsy takes me back to high school. Like I remember.
What's that you're holding up?
Oh yeah,
this is for Joel.
So he's holding
Bubbles. Up. It's a fucking seltzer.
Oh.
But it's a craft seltzer. Dude. So I'm going to drink it. This is from Third Moon Brewing Company. They're from Milton, Ontario. They are one of the coolest new metal ass breweries from Ontario. They're making a seltzer apparently. It's their lime. It's called Bubbles. I'll try it. It's been sitting in my fridge.
Nice. Did you bring it up to me?
I actually have another one in the fridge too.
Look at that. Cali Death exclusive, dude.
Got him. Got him.
Vox and Hops drinking the seltzer on camera. It smells like lime.
Lime is probably not the best flavor, but I mean, they might be good.
They might do it right.
It's not bad. It's.
He probably knows the brewer or something. He's trying to be nice.
I do Bebo rules, but I don't like seltzers. But this is drinkable.
Okay,
it's enjoyable on a hot summer day, but I don't like seltzers. I don't.
That's where seltzers got me. Was at a festival with Suicidal Tendencies, a bunch of other like kind of old punk bands and stuff. We went there. It was like it was a brew festival mixed with punk. So it was like about 15 or 30 or 40 different breweries. They'd let you in early, like at like 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and they give you a little glass and you just go and try everything. And it was just
amazing.
like it was awesome. So it was like it's all you can drink. Because I mean, it's a little glass, like a little shot glass mini.
How much did you pay for that?
I think I want to say it was about $80, but
cool.
But you know, all you can drink, and they brought out like Pliny the Elder,
just tasters, the whole
tasters. Yeah, so amazing. You just go to like, if you're an alcoholic, you go to the shortest line. But but there would be like Pliny the Younger, which is Pliny the Elder. That Pliny the Younger is supposedly one of the best beers in the Bay Area ever, supposedly.
In California, it won awards for California, I think.
And actually,
they've been for the country.
Hype.
Actually,
super hype.
Matt, I want you to know if you know this brewery because it's literally down the street from me. Like I could walk there in about 15 minutes. It's called San Andarias. It won.
I haven't heard that one yet.
It won #1 beer in the United States a couple times. Like #1 beer, it won, and it's down the street. And when I was living in Sacramento, I was telling my friends, "Hey, I'm going to Santa Cruz because I'm from here, but I was living in Sac." And they were like, "Hey, go check out San Andarias." I'm like, "Yeah, I've been there with my parents before." And they're like, "Dude, you know that like won #1 in like the biggest competition? Like, I might have even been the world or like #2 in the world or something, and #1 in America or something." And it's one brew they randomly will do. I don't know what it's called, but people
I would doubt it's like
an
IPA
here for.
I don't know if like an IPA is a worldwide accepted beer.
Yeah, I just hear that it's super sought after. Like he's like, dude, if they're selling that, you have to get me. I'll give you like $200. You have to get that for me. I was like, Jesus Christ! Like, I'll just I'm not like as far as it's kind of like the difference between actually you hold a lot in common with the craft beer drinkers do hold a lot in common. It's way cooler than with wine drinkers as far as
it has turned into that.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's now like you're describing it in the same kind of way. You're using those terms. You're like, oh,
it's taken more
crisp,
serious.
finish.
It's phenolic.
Yeah, actually, now that we brought that up, what's some of the funnier terms you use to describe beer?
Oh, I'm so bad at it. That's the worst part. But I last January, we made the decision that I was going to be the most metal. So the funniest thing that I've used was that just recently was that I drank this. It was like a barrel aged blend of a sour beer with another beer that had so many grams of cherries. And I said that they are basically the equivalent of Cannibal Corpse when Hammer Smash Face starts of the barrel aging program of Quebec. I think that was the funniest. But nice. I try to be the most metal when it comes to describing beers.
You're not using the like normal terminology that a lot of the.
I talk about like smashed and slaps and lips. Okay. And
what are they talking about specifically when you hear a guy say, "Oh, this is really bready"?
It means that it has very like a high like cereal content. It will taste. It's probably like on like a Pilsner or a Helles, or so it has like the cereal is very present. The malt that they're using is very present in the brew.
Yeah, I used to like with drinking like Spaten and stuff. I would describe that as bready. I can taste like a bread. There's something just bread.
Exactly, as if you're like smelling or biting into fresh bread.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'd like to make a shout out to my friend's brewery in Oceanside, California.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great place. I actually teach some student bands there, and he's a great dude. He's my old friend from back in junior high and all this, and good friends with David. Called? Oceanside Brewing Company.
Oceanside
Tomas. How long has he been going now?
5 years. He just had his anniversary.
He survived the pandemic.
Yep. It's a great place. They got live music, good stuff. If you're in Oceanside, California, come check it out.
There's cool videos of Casey and Joseph jamming with Diego from Disgorge.
Oh, we practice
jamming like crazy Disgorge shit just there. Just like fucking sick.
The wizard.
The riff wizard. Yeah,
I want to get him back on.
I actually invited him to come on tonight to jump on as a guest, like randomly.
I love that.
But he didn't. I think he's busy.
Yeah.
You can tell him he's got chicken.
We'll nail him down soon.
I know he loves
cheese and macaroni.
We'll back him into a corner.
Kicking it with my homie.
So that's the chicken wing song you're talking about.
Was I talking about that last time?
Yeah. No, but I forgot. I was going to ask him about it, and then like I forgot.
That's it. Yeah.
And like I'll say every time he gets brought up, and I'll say it every episode, like trying to find one human that doesn't like that guy. Like
he's the best.
There's not one. I don't think there's one.
Anybody who's come across the Riff Whiz catches that energy, dude, and then they're just like, "Oh yeah, dude, that's
like I've never seen him like even just seeing him play, or he come to every single show and like down south and stuff. He'd always be there. Like I kind of just for myself, I just want to see him mad once. I don't know.
Just to see if it's possible.
Like, what does that look like? What does Diego look mad?
Yeah.
Like,
he's all fuck you, man.
He's all fuck you.
Diego, settle down. Yeah.
He's all smiling the whole time.
Like, nah, I'm just kidding.
For the listeners, Casey was in the middle of talking to Matt. He took off real quick. He probably had to go take a piss.
No, it's all good. I'll probably
that was smooth.
And then he's telling him, then
that's smooth though. That's a smooth move. Because
totally.
like he doesn't want to, like most guests will be like, especially when you're a one guest, like you have to like we're like I have to pee.
Yeah, I know.
Like, he's like runs his own. He runs his own podcast, so he's like, so I'll just like
slither.
I'll just slither out
like, lower and lower. He's like,
So yeah, totally. Like I love that guy. That guy's super sick.
He just like all like, you know.
Yeah.
All right. So what were you saying, Casey? The bloodletting thing.
Look at scoot in.
And
another seltzer. Oh, is that another seltzer?
No, I poured it down the drain.
But he had to move on, dude. He had to move on quick.
Yeah, I don't like seltzers.
That's how bad. Okay, then it all comes out. He's like, he's all. It's got a limey.
This is good though. This is a collab between a craft beer store called Bois Grain and Silo. This is their Poudreuse. It's their Svelti 8%. But it's not an 8% beer. It's 2.8% beer, actually.
Oh, that's cool. You call that beer? That's tight. But
you would drink it. I would serve you this, and you would think that it's a 5% beer. You'd never know.
So it gives me male breasts, but doesn't get me drunk. Sick. That's tight. So
at this time of night, it feels good.
Oh, I keep forgetting you're sitting on a later time than us.
That's correct.
We got you for what, about 10, 15 more minutes, something like that?
Yeah, we can talk about all the crazy shit I got coming up.
Hell yeah, dude.
Let's do it.
I'm organizing live events. It's nice. Sort of happening. I can't talk about specific details, but I'm teaming up with Mondial de la Bière, which is
slower.
Mondial de la Bière, which is the World Beer Fest. They have World Beer Fests in Montreal, which is where it started in the early 90s. If the user
wanted to look it up, though, so because we have a lot of people in America,
yes, it's Mondial. It's MONDAIL DE La LA Bière BIERE, and it's the biggest beer fest in North America. Basically, it happens in Montreal, it happens in Paris, it happens in Brazil, and for the past year I've been hosting their virtual roundtable discussions where I sit down with brewers, beer experts, fellow craft beer media people, and we have a conversation for about an hour, and I've been doing that for the past year. So now we're taking this to the live setting because they got funding from Tourism Montréal, which is to bring people back downtown, because a lot of people don't go downtown anymore. They stay in their house. They avoid downtown, and the downtown sector is suffering. So there's been this initiative put in place, and we're hosting basically 10 to 11 events starting October. It's going to be very, very exciting to start doing things together, and it's going to be cool. And I have to curate band experiences. It won't be metal, because it has to be for everyone, but there will be one metal one, and I'm excited about that.
Nice, dude. That's killer.
And I just got for confirmation today. I can't talk too much about it, but there will hypothetically be a brutal metal show with beer happening in Montreal coming up, and that makes me very happy.
That's awesome. I was when you said that. I've been actually running into a lot of people that throw that, and I've done that to people too, where they're just like, I can't talk much about it, but it's this thing where like it's in metal, it cracks me up because I have so many friends that are in the bands and doing all the things and stuff, and you just hear that line so much. It's like, like I got this super sick thing that you're gonna love to death, and it's probably your favorite thing in the world, but I can't tell you. So I'm
excited to talk about it. I'm just excited that if the pandemic keeps going positively and everything happens, but we're gonna end up, we don't talk about this someday. I know that we didn't talk about this on this podcast, but if it works well and here in Canada we can start having shows again, there will be a very cool event coming up.
Fuck yeah. Awesome. Yeah, it's like it reminds me of sorry, I'm actually, these things got me kind of drunk. Anyways, it reminds me of like not announcing your kid after the first trimester, like after the trimester, like you can announce it.
It was on paper. It's on paper. I have this idea that happened from me starting a podcast to now on paper. There's confirmation that something might happen one day. That makes me excited.
How about
I'm stoked for you, man. That's awesome, dude. It's super cool.
How about new Cryptopsy?
We're supposed to enter the studio very soon. The material that I've heard is incredible. The songs are amazing. As much as I had issues joining Cryptopsy, Donaldson had worse issues because he was filling John Lavassare's shoes, and he always felt like an imposter. I feel like now he's finally comfortable. He goes through this like process where he gets really drunk to write, and it works for him because if not, he judges himself and he thinks it sucks. And he fucks with this shit of like something that John used to do that he learned was that he would like write riffs and then learn it backwards. And then that riff would become the real riff.
Oh, cool. That's like a Ron Jarzamek does stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. So Chris has been doing that, but he uses the computer to flip things around. But then he learns the riff and plays it that way.
Sure.
Wow. That's what Chris does.
I've never heard of that, actually.
Yeah. It's because it fucks with your brain. There you go.
Red Room fucking Twin Peaks David Lynch shit right there. They all speak backwards, but it's recorded backwards.
The material is amazing. I can't wait to tackle it. I have a concept. I have a title. I had it before the pandemic, and it's even more solidified due to everything that happened throughout the pandemic.
Yeah.
It has to do with the internet. And I had this concept before, and it's crazy that everything that's happened, the division that's happened.
So it's a full length?
It's a full length. It's on a label. We signed a deal. I can't talk about it.
I'm just trying to get as much out of you as I can.
But I'm happy that we signed it. We've been independent since 2012. It was a conversation that happened with the Vox and Hops alumni that led towards us having a deal. It was quite the decision to finally become not independent. That was a bunch of negotiation within the band, but I think it's the right decision. I think that we sort of plateaued with what we could do independently. We did very well.
I didn't even know that you were doing independent stuff. I had no idea.
It's 2012. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So you
self-titled.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Oh. So you found your own promotional companies, marketing, you did all that stuff on your own.
Wow. Exactly. Wow. Which we did well, but I feel like there's only so much you can do unless you're part of the Cool Kids Club.
Yeah, I do feel like that too. I mean, I've had friends bands do that where they're like, we're going to do it independently. Feels like it doesn't get seen as quite as much.
There's bands that are exceptions, such as Shadow of Intent, that are just fucking cool, and everyone wants them in their fucking party. But Cryptopsy can be as cool as they want, and we are fucking cool. But I don't feel like Cryptopsy has to hang out with, in my opinion, Cannibal Corpse has to hang out with, Behemoth has to hang out with, all these bands that they tend to keep the doors closed unless you're a part of the club.
Well, also the amount of work too that goes into when you cut out the label that does a lot behind the scenes. When you all of a sudden that's on you now, like
absolutely
to do it like that you're basically paying a premium to just be like, dude, just take care of that stuff. We'd just like to play and record and
which will never be. We're very hands-on. Chris will obviously take care of everything when it comes to production.
That's right.
I'm very hands-on when it comes to doing promotion. And I learned a lot from my time with Cryptopsy that I applied to Vox and Hops, which really helped Vox and Hops have a springboard. But having time to do both of them right now is proving to be a difficulty. So to have some help in the marketing and the connection, and I'm ready to like be booked on an interview as like this. This is nice. It's nice to not have my prep work done and I just come and hang out.
We're stoked
nice
to have you.
Which is exactly what we did too. No prep work, came hung out, dude.
Well, it's like Matt's like our dude. Like we love Matt, so it's like
I know I can come and talk about what I want to talk about. I like that.
Well, you can ask whatever you want. I mean, vice versa. We just know each other.
We are professorless tonight, so
we are again.
We're like 34% dumber this episode.
Actually, the first episode was missing Joel, so this is the second episode missing one of the 4.
That's right. And the first episode missing me had the most fucking hits. So I'm just kidding.
Maybe we should take a look at
45 episodes. That's not bad, dude. For us to be
45 episodes. Keep going, boys.
Yeah. No, hey, you're leading the way, kind of, with all the stuff you're doing. It's really cool to see you. Putting out so much content and stuff. I'm definitely, every time I see it, I'm just like, and I try to join your. I'll be like on my break or something and you'll go live and I'll just be like, I love you. I'll throw all this. I love like just throwing love at you when I see that. Cause I'm like super stoked to see you doing it, man.
Also, Matt, I want to say that your podcast was partly a reason why I thought that this may be able to work, because you were the first like extreme metal adjacent podcast that I enjoyed and saw that it had, it's clout already when I came across it. So I was like, oh yeah, dude, there's a pocket of this stuff for us. We could fit right in somewhere.
Dude, I did my first 100 episodes with just my friends. That says a lot.
Yeah. Wow. And we've been using friends, not using, but like bringing friends on, but like making new friends too. Like I had never spoken with you since before that episode, I
know we're gonna hang out. That's the beautiful thing about it. It's the beautiful thing about a podcast is that we finish this conversation and I feel like we're friends.
Totally, dude.
So we're gonna hang out and face to face. I'm gonna know you. I'm gonna feel comfortable with you.
Exactly. And I can't wait for that to happen, by the way, too.
And it's happened so many times. Basically, like how I made Brutal North America happen was because of the podcast. I had spoken to so many people. I just wrote people say, do you want a beer? They were like, yes, I want a beer. And then we hung out and then we made a beer happen and 22 of them came out. It's insane.
Yeah,
that's awesome, man.
So it's that Slumdog Millionaire link
mentality
of, just everything is connected, and knowing people and knowing the right people and getting that introduction and getting vetted. That's what this is all about.
Well,
no doubt.
We were super inspired by you, like Anthony was saying, and that like really got us to kind of doing our thing. And having you on the first time with Cryptopsy, was like a huge honor in multiple ways, because we respected your podcast. And
I remember we were like, hey, dude, this is the first time we're having somebody who already has a podcast that's been going for a long time.
And it was like, and it was like, and by the way, it's going to be like Cryptopsy on. We're like, oh yeah, who's coming on too? He's like, oh, the whole band. Oh,
and Mike DeSalvo.
All right.
And then I said,
and Mike DeSalvo, yeah.
And then I pitched that to you. I said, we should get DeSalvo on.
We were just like,
dude.
Okay.
And I'm so happy that happened, because even again, having him for a part 2, like that's a brother to me now, dude. Mike DeSalvo.
I love Mike.
And thank you for connecting him with us. We just had him on.
The best. Yeah.
4 podcasts ago.
With Lindsay too.
Yeah. Oh, it was so fun. I love that. I love them both, but Mike is such a cool guy. I feel like it's just like a friend now. It's like
I hung out with him not too long ago for this beer, actually, Cold Haze Warm Blood, because I didn't know what the song was about. So I hung out with him and Lord Worm and interviewed them about their experience with Cold Hate Warm Blood. And Lord Worm told me what the song was about, and I've been singing it for 14, 15 years now. And I didn't know what it was about. It turns out that his girlfriend at the time, stop me if you've heard this, got pregnant and went to go get an abortion, and he was cool with that, which is amazing. And they came back, and it turns out they only got one of the babies, and the other fetus he found in his pubic hair, which he took out of his pubic hair and he put in a little pill bottle, and he called it Junior. I'm not joking. And he kept the baby in the pill bottle, or the fetus, until they broke up.
Wow.
And they celebrate. Yeah. And that's what Cold Hate Warm Blood is. Had that
Damn.
babies.
And that's why he feeds you worms in the front row of his shows.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah. And there's a video. I have a video of that on the Vox and Hops YouTube if people want to
That's
check it out.
crazy, dude.
Of him
That's
telling him that story.
God.
His delivery of that story is incredible.
I mean, if you told me Jeffrey Dahmer did that shit before he got caught, dude, it would be the same.
anytime you're with Lord Worm, you laugh.
Yeah,
You're laughing as a defense mechanism because you're not sure if he's joking or not. And
I was going to say, if he's
never joking.
I'm doing that right now.
If he's off the dome and he's just freestyling and improvising and just totally getting it, dude, just like,
dude.
I sent that
almost
to
more
Frank
brilliant.
from Metal Injection. He was like, "This is amazing. I'm going to share it." He never shared it.
I can't imagine just hanging out with the worm, dude. Just
he's
chilling.
super chill. You drink beer.
Yeah.
He loves it. He's very funny.
He's like, let me tell
very,
you something. And then,
very, very smart, and he can tell a story like no one else.
He's a teacher, right? Like a professor.
He taught English to French-speaking business professionals.
Oh, okay.
So anyone that ever imagined Lord Worm was like in a classroom, I always make this joke, like in his coffin, and the children come in and sit at their desks, and he comes out of his coffin. And that's not true, but he does walk around with a briefcase all the time. He's always in character. He's a very, very special human.
That would have been funny if you were just like, dude, he used to teach underwater basket weaving at Montreal Tech.
It has to happen now, dude.
But the voice still works. I was with him like at that day there, and then he pulled the voice out in this giant room full of barrels, like beer barrels, because we're at Bodega with this crazy, they only make dark beer brewery near my house. And he just like pulled it out, the inhale long scream, and he's still got it. Just so good.
It's just nice.
Yeah.
Damn.
So
That's
good.
awesome, man. Oh yeah.
I mean, was that the last thing he had done? He didn't.
No, he did Raj Nuclei after that he was recorded, and then he was on Curian's new record too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
we got to get him, dude. We already got 2 out of the 3, dude, that have been.
Yeah, the technical side of things with Lord Worm is not strong. I did my 1-year anniversary with Lord Worm live in front of an audience, and he was amazing. He was like on fire. He was like, I had set up the chairs to be face to face so we could have a conversation with the audience here.
Yeah,
which is what an interview to me is.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as he showed up earlier before the doors and stuff, he turned the chairs towards the audience. And I was like, okay, we're in for a show.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
2nd-year anniversary was pandemic last year. And I had him set up at Mike DeSalvo's house. And Worm thought that it was in person and he was different. He was a bit colder. It's like not the same. He's not. But then again, when I had him for the Cold Hate Warm Blood thing, he was completely himself again. I feel like he's not as attuned to this situation as we are.
Yeah.
Gotcha. As far as like
That's
the technological stuff you're talking about, or just
I feel like just speaking into a computer, he won't be.
Like Bill?
Yeah,
exactly. I didn't see that episode. Was he on the episode?
Yeah.
It's on the Decrepit episode, yeah.
I imagine it's probably the same.
We should get Bill and Lord Worm on the same episode.
Oh, hell yes.
You got to start doing mashups of people that just like make sense together.
I want to do episodes of people that look like each other. We should have like Bill, Chris Barnes.
Chris Barnes, dude.
Who's the other person we kept comparing him to?
The singer of Shadows Fall. I don't know.
Brian Fair.
In case you wouldn't know who that is, just grab Dread.
I used to want to be the Brian Fair of straight hair.
Matt and fucking Craig, they both have hair. How long's your hair, Matt? When you let it go?
Below my butt, yeah.
Yeah. Craig's down to behind his knees, dude.
Jesus.
Craig Peters. I'm like, there's no
crazy.
How could you whip that live? I don't think
Slowly.
you can.
Imagine in the shower, it just goes down to your knee. That's crazy. To clean
this is windmilling.
It's like Rapunzel, dude.
Man. I know you got a time thing going on.
I got to bounce. Yeah, I take care of little kids tomorrow early morning, so I appreciate you guys having me on.
We're so stoked to have you on, man. We're honored again. We love you, the band.
Totally.
Thank you guys.
Love that again too. We'll set one up again. Down the road if you have an opening in that long schedule that you just said goes to
March. We'll see you in March.
Yeah,
March. No, I have 2 bleeding into March. I have to feel February. I need my sober February. I made a list the other day of the ultimate sober artists of who I want to speak to. I have 12 names. I need 4 of them. I think I might nail it. We'll see.
Actually, who you can get now is Trevor from Black Dahlia. He's stopped drinking.
Is that confirmed?
I mean, that's what he told me. I've been texting with him back and forth because I was like, asking him like, hey, because I'm like, got COVID breasts or whatever. But I was like, hey, so if you quit drinking, or you did quit drinking, I was like, did you lose a bunch of weight? Like, are you? Because I feel like I saw him and I was like, you look a little thinner, man. Like, and he's just all, no, brother, I haven't lost anything. Like, I'm fucking like putting more weight on right now. And I'm like, okay,
that would be a great suggestion if he actually still is sober. Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
I think he gave it up.
I'm gonna see him when he comes. I had heard that through someone.
And also too, I'm gonna give a shout out now that this gets brought up right now because I feel like it's necessary. Just to the speedy recovery of Cheney and Naveen. Listening to that if you guys want a crazy story of something that happened, and actually was like watching their stories the night before while they were having wine and having a good time, and they're like going like high five and having a good time. And then the next morning or the next day or two was just a picture of Cheney just completely like with bandages all over her face and stuff. And I was like, oh my God. And
Copper Crab podcast, if you want to hear about
it. It's called The Crash. I just listened to it, and it actually it was 2 nights ago I listened to it, and I literally kept me up. I was like, couldn't sleep, like, because of I thought the story was that she just crashed or something, and it's a way more intense story than that. And I was like, oh my God. Like, even from Naveen's perspective, I was like completely like freaked out, like just going like, what? I mean, I'm so glad they're okay.
So glad it's not worse.
Yeah, for sure. So glad they're all right.
That's some of the scariest stuff.
Cheney's a strong chick. She's going to come out of this.
She's going to come back. And seeing her posts and stuff, she's already like trying to do vocalize
again. She's so fucking talented, dude.
I know, totally.
Oh, yeah,
that's why I hooked her up with the Monster Squad.
She played. They both played Heavy Metal Montreal, right?
No, I hooked him up with I'm sure they have, but I hooked him up with the Left Evident. Yeah, I hooked him up.
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
okay.
She got that.
No.
She played a character in what was Resident Evil?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck,
cool.
Dude.
That's
How
awesome.
Cool is that, dude?
Way cool.
I feel like I did. Maybe I didn't. I'm sure I hooked her up, and then he already said he already had her. I might be wrong.
But just so sending your love or all
absolutely mad love.
Love you guys. I mean, goddamn, some of my good friends, and that sucks to see them go through that. But as far as I heard in that podcast, Naveen was like, I'm never drinking again. So I mean, that could be one.
Naveen might be one.
Yeah. So I mean, for February, that's kind of a bad time to bring that up. But
hey, by the way, but
yeah, I know. But just sending love to them. I mean, that really affected me, and listening to Naveen talk really affected me, and that was I'm glad that they're making leaps and bounds as far as recovery and stuff, and hope to see them back getting that album done pretty soon.
It's gonna be a fucking massive hit.
Definitely.
Hell yeah. It's definitely gonna be fucking sick. Well, on, everybody. Thanks, Matt. Love you, dude. Casey, Joel, love you guys.
Shout out to Murray real quick from Murray.
Murray. Where's mine? There's there's 4 dudes in Cryptopsy. There's 4 dudes in Cryptopsy. Why the hell did 2 of them get one?
That's what's up.
Now you're gonna get one for sure because he listens to every episode.
Oh hell yeah, guys. Well, thanks.
I'll take a Vox and Hops one though.
Yeah,
there you go. There you go.
That'd be sick.
And speaking of Vox and Hops, go check it out if you haven't listened to it. Go subscribe. It's a fucking sick show, and you've heard of endless amounts of those guests, guys. You're gonna find plenty of fucking good shit in there. So yeah, fuck yeah. And sorry Joseph couldn't be with us this week, dude. I'm gonna miss him. Until next week, though, the professor's coming back strong.
Oh yeah,
we'll be a much smarter podcast.
Yes.
All right, Key goes up about 13 14 points each.
You guys did well. Thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate it.
No problem, Matt. And
thanks for coming on.
Everybody next week. Rock on.
Cheers.
Right on.
Yep.
Peace.